نكاح مبارك زواج مبارك النكاح من سنتي.
Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam, ala rasulillah, wa ala alihi ashabi ajmain, amma ba'd. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Innal muslimina wal muslimati, wal mu'minina wal mu'minati, wal qanitina wal qanitati, wal sadiqina wal sadiqati, wal sabirina wal sabirati, wal khashiina wal khashiyati, wal mutasaddiqina wal mutasaddiqati, wal saimina wal saimati, wal hafizina furujum wal hafizati. وذاكرين الله كثيرا وذاكرات أعد الله لهم مغفرة أجرا عظيما رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. I welcome all the sisters with the Islamic greetings. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Now we begin with the second part of the question and answer session on the marriage preparatory course. If any sisters have any questions related to the topic of marriage preparatory course, then you're most welcome, sisters.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sometimes it happens that a person is by nature short-tempered, and probably it's the husband or the wife, and they blast on each other, sometimes in front of others also. It does affect a married life. So what should a person do in that case?
Point number one, that if a person is short-tempered, anger is wrong unless it's in the cause of Islam. Point number one, that if he gets angry, they should see to it that हर बीवी and शोहर के बीच में husband wife, there's some or the other problem. So problem is there. Therefore I always say that happiness does not come from absence of conflict in life, but it comes from the ability to cope with it. Happiness comes not from absence of conflict in life, but from the ability to cope with it. You should not pray, there should not be conflict. You pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if there's a conflict, let it be solved. So point number one, that if the husband gets or the wife gets angry, there should not be a third person around. There should not be any stranger, not even your children. If your children are also there, it has an effect on the children, that my father is shouting at my mother or my mother is shouting at the father. So see to it that no third person is there. Even when you're together, unnecessary shouting is wrong. Once in a blue moon it does take place. Even good couples, there are arguments. But if they are good, then surely they settle down and everything goes fine. So sister should see to it that no third person is there, not even the family members, not even your own children. It has a negative impact which is irreversible, which is damaging especially for the children. If once the impression is there in the mind of the children is set, that whether it be against the mother or the father, it's very wrong. And the spouses should not try and put an upper edge in front of the children. Oh, your mother is like that, I'm so good. So by degrading your mother, you're degrading yourself also. I'm degrading the mother of a child, degrading your wife, or degrading yourself. Because whatever is the izzat or the status of a wife is your status. Therefore the Quran says in Surah Baqarah chapter 2 verse 187, Hunna libasul lakum wa antum libasul lahunna. That they are your garments and you are their garments. If you have to look after them, they have to look after you. But if the short-temperedness is there and one of them realizes, one of the two spouses realizes, believe me, if one of them is good, one is short-tempered, the other is a good Islamic person and cool-minded, the moment person who is short-tempered starts shouting, the other person does sabr, inna lama sabri, and the problem is solved. But the problem arises when both of them, they try and compete with each other. If one person talks only, the other person keeps quiet, the person stops talking. If one person starts and the other person also starts, then there's a problem. So if one of the two is good Islamic knowledge he has got, whether the husband or the wife gets angry, the second person realizes, okay, now my spouse is in a bad mood, keeps quiet, let the husband or the wife cool down, after 1 hour discuss it, the problem is solved. When there's a reaction, then the problem starts. And most of the problems in the family, believe me, can be solved. It is minor issue, but everyone tries to put up around, my husband ne aisa bola, main bhi bataungi. Wo bolega, my wife ne aisa bola, main bhi bataunga. They try and prove that we are superior. So because of this problem, the family problem comes. So sister, one of them is school-minded, etc. But point number one, if someone is short-tempered, don't do it in front of others, not in front of your children at all. In between also, once in a blue moon, fine, but should not carry on. You should think yourself that why did you get angry? I could have said that very nicely. And the same thing if you could have said in a different tone, you would have got results immediately. By getting angry, not that you always get results. Sometimes you do get. Sometimes you may have to once in a while. That's a different issue. But as a whole, raising your voice and anger should be avoided, sister. Hope that answers the question.
Brother, as you said, Islam encourages arbitrator. Now there's a problem between a husband and wife, and the question of ego arises. The husband does it, the wife goes and tells an experienced person to intermediate in between to solve the problem, but the husband ego level is so high that it worsens up the problem by the arbitrator coming in between. He says, how dare you tell this matter to a third person. Pearl knows that this person is more experienced, he'll be able to handle the matter better, but because of his ego level, he just worsens the problem.
Sister, you haven't understood by the meaning of the word arbiter. An arbiter is not a person who is experienced. Arbiter is a person who knows both of them well and who can solve the problem. So the choice of the arbiter from the wife's side is wrong. She should know that if this person comes, the husband will not get angry. If she doesn't know that, then she has chosen wrong arbiter. It is one person may be experienced, but the other spouse doesn't respect him. So it's useless. That's the reason when someone tells me to come in between, my first question is, that does your spouse know me? See, one of the spouses may consider me, oh, this person is great. The other spouse, अरे क्या है ये, क्या दाई है, बेवकूफ आदमी है, डॉक्टरी छोड़ के लेक्चर दे रहा है, थर्ड क्लास आदमी है. If I come, it will worsen. So first question I ask him, that does this spouse know me? I don't know both of them. Yes, oh, she's your fan. Oh, he's your fan. So fine. So then I said, fine. Then I listen what the problem is. Otherwise, I can give an outside advice. If I'm supposed to come in between, first I check up whether both the people know me or not. I may not have met them, but since they've seen me on television, both of them respect me. Then for me coming in between, so therefore, sister, choosing an arbiter is very important. And especially when there's a problem, there's a fight between the spouses, at that time, the person who's arbiter knowing both of them is very important. Yes, but a person who's expert in counseling can take the advice and follow it, but don't get him in the picture. If you get him in the picture, that person is a fool to come in the picture. That means not an expert. That person who you're considering as expert, if he comes and doesn't know your husband and comes and arbitrate, that means he's a fool. According to me, not an expert. So your judgment that he's an expert is wrong. An expert will never come in between because he knows that in these delicate issues between husband and wife, if he shows his face in between, it will create more of a problem. He may give you outside advice, what to do, what not to do, etc. But coming in the picture, the arbiter knowing both the people is very important. Sisters, hope that answers the question. Hope you're satisfied with the answer, sister.
Yes, brother.
For example, in Kashmir, maximum families and guys are not Islamic because of ignorance and because of lack of dawa also, like minimum dawa. So if we all marry religious groups, like religious guys, so how will other families change and how will Islam enter into their lives?
That's a very good question, sister. That everyone, the religious person marry religious, and those who are unreligious, so no one marries. How will the ummah change? So more bother about getting Jannah for others than your Jannah. Sister, is your Jannah secured? Believe me, my Jannah is also not secured. I keep on traveling thousands of miles, traveling in America, UK, Singapore. If my Jannah was secured, why should I take all the pain and sleep only 3 hours a day? I stay awake till 2 o'clock, I stay in the RF. If my Jannah is secured, why should I do all this thing? Sister, first, as far as the Akhirah is concerned, you should be selfish, sister. Are you sure that you will go to Jannah? And what guarantee do you have that if you marry an un-Islamic person, you will be able to change him? So better you secure Jannah and your children. By your children, you create a revolution, sister. So if you're marrying, therefore you choose the right partner, and when you choose a life partner, that's the time you think about your children. So if you want to change the ummah, sister, it is better that you marry a like-minded person so that the children you have, whether 2, 3, 4, 5, therefore it's one of the hadith is there that you marry a woman who can produce more children, so it will change the philosophy of the whole world. But you are saying you will marry someone un-Islamic and someone Islamic by un-Islamic, so both will become un-Islamic. See, the chances that if 2 Islamic and 2 un-Islamic people are there, and if they marry unlike, the chances may be net result may be 0, all may become good, all may become bad, half may become good. So better at least if 2 Islamic people get married, at least the children that come out will inshallah be Islamic. So I wouldn't like to take a risk. First before when I was a very good debater, alhamdulillah time, but my school day has to think, hey, any wife, usko to kya 4 din mein sudhar lenge, kya fayda? I mean, alhamdulillah. So that was my style of thinking first. Koi bhi wife hona, any wife. But then, alhamdulillah, before marriage I got matured, alhamdulillah. I said, no, that's the wrong thinking. I have to find for a right spouse. And believe me, for 2 years I searched, I only interviewed one, and that one I married, mashallah. So, my sister was helping me out, that she did not pass anyone in the prelims only. So the first one, I had only one chance of interviewing. So I'm not experienced in interviewing, sister, many people. But I did only one interview. And alhamdulillah, but my prayer was there to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that give me a spouse which is best for me. I never prayed that give me a dai or give me that. That fine, I was looking for a dai. I was looking for dai, and I wanted a person who would help me in my activities and etc. What is that? But my prayer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was, give me a spouse that will be my muhsana, and give me a spouse that will be best for me in akhirah and this world. And alhamdulillah, I got the best life partner that I could find in the full world, alhamdulillah. So sister, this is important that you should not say, okay, I'm good so I can take anyone and I can improve, etc. You never know. You never know, sister. Therefore, the Prophet said, the virtuous woman should marry the unvirtuous men. And the virtuous men should marry unvirtuous women. In fact, the Quran says the virtuous men are for virtuous women and unvirtuous men are for unvirtuous women. That's the verse of the Quran. So sister, you're thinking of that way is wrong. You should marry a virtuous man, sister. Hope that answers the question.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I'm a revert, so if now that I'm on a lookout for a Islamic mate for myself, so what would you recommend? Like, what are the right sources to approach to? Like, who should I approach to?
Sister, if you have any friends who are well connected with people who are Islamic, etc., you can spread the word amongst your lady friends that, I would like for a match, and do you know if anyone Islamic, maybe the brothers may be there or someone else, they are attached to Islamic organizations. So in that way, sister, you can spread the word amongst the ladies who through their mehram or through Islamic organization they can come to know, and that's how you look for it, sister. Or approach an organization which is involved in matchmaking, and then it becomes easier, sister. Hope that answers the question.
نكاح مبارك زواج مبارك
अस्सलामुअलैकुम, मैं एजाज अहमद असलम हूँ। आप देख रहे हैं पीस टीवी उर्दू।
ज़लज़ले हैं, बिजलियाँ हैं, कहत हैं, आलाम हैं, कैसी कैसी दुख तराने मातरे अय्याम हैं। इंसानियत की दुखती पीठ को इस्लाम की दीवार ही सहारा दे सकती। जिंदगी के सफ़र में अगर आप उलझनों के शिकार हैं तो देखिए हमारा प्रोग्राम उलझने सिर्फ पीस टीवी पर।
जानिए वो तालीमात जिनकी रोशनी में आपको मिलेगी बेशुमार मुश्किलों से निजात। उलझने हर जुमेरात रात 8:30 बजे और दोबारा दोपहर 12:30 बजे इंडिया में पीस टीवी उर्दू पर। इबादत का हकदार, कायनात का मुख्तार, बंदों का परवरदिगार, हो हर काम उसकी रजा की खातिर।
देखिए मेरे साथ
मौलाना फजैलुर रहमान कासमी से जानिए वही अव्वल वही आखिर। अगला प्रोग्राम पीस टीवी उर्दू पर।
نكاح مبارك زواج مبارك.
Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yesterday you spoke about negative testing, while speaking of in a meeting. Then could you guide us more towards it? How to judge a person's gestures and what kind, like?
Negative testing, for example, you ask a leading question to the boy. Do you have any vices? Do you smoke? Do you have alcohol? If he says yes, so it's confirmed. He says that I have alcohol, negative. Negative testing means if you get proof that he is doing something un-Islamic, that is 100% confirmed that his virtue is bad. But if he says that don't have alcohol, that doesn't mean that he is not having. He may have, he may not have. So therefore ask leading question. Some may lie, most of them will not lie, whatever it is. Now, after the leading question, there can be a follow-up question, sub-question to know whether he is lying or not. For example, if you ask the boy that do you offer salah? Or how many times do you offer salah? So he may say yes, yes I offer 5 times. Or you may ask the question in another way, that how many salahs do you miss in a day? One question. If he says I offer 5 times salah, so you can ask him that what is the time for fajr? Today what is the time for fajr? Now a person who doesn't offer salah and says I offer 5 times salah, Ask him the time of Fajr, because the Fajr time keeps on changing. Ask him the time of Maghrib. If you ask him the time of Fajr and Maghrib, and if he gives approximately the correct time, you can say, okay, fine, the chances he's saying the truth is a bit more. Not that he has said the truth. But if he falters there, and he says, Fajr, I get up in the morning at, now I get up in the morning at 6:30 and offer Salah. So you know that now the time for sunrise is about 6:10, 6:08, 6:10. So if he says 6:30, that means he's lying. Or if he says I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, he's lying. If he says, I don't know the exact time of sunrise, but I get up before 5:45 and offer my Salah between 5:30 and 5:45, no problem. So in this way, by asking leading questions, sisters, and then asking sub-questions, you can even identify whether the person is lying or not. Do you smoke? Do you have alcohol? Do you offer Salah? Do you give zakat? What is the percentage of zakat? Leading questions you can ask. And we do that when we take interviews of the parents of the children that get admitted to our school, Islamic International School. And we even ask simple questions, and we ask a question that, who is the first prophet of Islam? And believe me, many times ladies, they don't know who's the first prophet. Many times they reply that Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So if you ask such a question, that who's the first prophet, and the person doesn't know that Adam Alayhi Salam is the first prophet, and he claims to be a very Islamic person, so he come to know. Many a time people feel offended, and there was a person who had done a dawah training course, and he was looking for a good wife, and then we did introduce to the parents of both the girl and the boy. After that he comes and tells me, you know Zakir bhai, that girl asked me, do I smoke? I said, why? Asking me after you gave recommendation. I said, yes. I said, how come she asked that? I said, we trained them to ask that question. Even if someone has to get married to my brother, who's my brother, even if it's the recommendation of Dr. Zakir Naik, you have to ask leading question. You are shocked. They have to be trained to ask leading question, and a person who feels bad, how could she ask me? And a good person, a good guy will say, wow, what a good girl. I mean, she's the Islamic girl. She wants to know whether I smoke or not. And when I said no, I got extra point. So that means a good person who has Islamic knowledge will be happy that a girl is asking him whether do I smoke or not, do I drink or not, do I date or not, do I have girlfriends or not. You know, so these questions actually are leading questions. Many times, how can I ask such a thing? It's so insulting. I mean, it's better if he feels insulted on day one and not marry the person, rather than live life with the person who you don't know that he's not compatible to you. So sister, you should ask leading questions, you should have sub-questions, and based on this you can come to know. Many a time when a person gives a reply, you can come to know that he has got negative testing. The reply that you get, for example, you should know what is the scenario of the world today. And based on that, whatever reply you get, if other things are fine and a couple of things you feel are not correct, you consult with another person. That, you know, many a time people just get put off at small things. Like, I remember that a lady, when she was discussing with the person, and he was a good dai, etc., everything. And then she asked, do you do guzze basar? So he was honest, he said that, not really, I don't practice it. Guzze basar nahi karte, reject. See, guzze basar, lowering your gaze when you speak to a lady is an important thing, it's a fard. But how many people do it? So seeing the scenario that people aren't used to that thing, though it is wrong, it is haram. So these things you should know on what criteria to reject, what not to reject. So this, inshallah, certain things you can directly reject on the spot. That fine, a person, for example, interest is a bigger sin than even having alcohol. He's a very good person, everything fine, 5 times salah he offers, etc. Then do you have a savings account? Yes, I have a savings account. Interest, haram, reject. See, having a savings account, according to me, is a bigger sin than drinking alcohol. But because most of the people, most of the Muslims are not aware that riba is a bigger sin than having alcohol, and alcohol is known to be a big sin. So if he has alcohol, he knows it's a big sin and is willingly doing it. In interest, people think, some scholars have given that is allowed. So I would put it the other way around. As a person who has a savings account, who has the money in fixed deposit, though it's a bigger sin, I would say that's a better person than a person who has alcohol. So this is again my experience with company, sister, because in our society, not having a savings account or fixed deposit is not common. So such things, sister, while interviewing, you should know where should be the weightage, and based on that you can do negative testing and you can come to know. You can ask him questions like, you're a dai, which organization are you attached to, how often do you go? So by asking leading questions, sister, oh, you're a dai, or what have you read, where have you gone, where have you learned, which books have you read? You know, all these questions you can come to know. So all these questions, when a person keeps on answering, the chances that he's not involved become diminished. Which books have you read? Have you heard of Sheikh Ahmad Didat? Do you know which cassettes have you seen? So these questions, the moment you keep on asking, you come to know that the person, the less chances of him lying, asking leading questions, you can come to many things, sister. And that I think in the marriage preparatory course, there's a questionnaire which I believe will be given to you, or maybe has been given to you, that what questions to ask and how to ask, etc. Hope that answers the question.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
If I am married into a family, a joint family, and my husband keeps going on tours, say around 2 to 3 months, should I stay with the joint family? One. Two, I mean, as it is said by the Holy Prophet ﷺ, that as your brothers-in-law are death upon you, so should I, in the absence of my husband, should I allow him into the house when no one is there around? I mean, how is it going to affect the relationships with my...
There's a question that if the husband goes out of Bombay, out of town for 2-3 months, and she lives in a joint family, and the brother-in-law has a death, so can she live with the brother-in-law? Should she go out? Should she take him out? Sister, depending on joint family. If you have got mother-in-law, father-in-law, and brother-in-law staying, as I mentioned earlier, joint families are encouraged, but it's not haram. You see to it, you maintain your hijab. Don't get him in your room. In your room, prevent him. But in the house, if he's there in his room, no problem, as long as you have someone else staying. But if there are only 3 people staying, you, your husband, and your brother-in-law, and if your husband goes out, it's haram for you to live even for 1 day. In a closed room, even for few minutes is haram, sister. Leave aside days. Even for few minutes, staying alone in the house is haram, sister. Yes, if there are other mahram, like your mother-in-law, your father-in-law, etc., and then you stay, he is in his room, don't unnecessarily chat too much, you stay in your room, don't allow him to come in your room with the door closed, etc., that is not allowed, sister. If he stays in his room, and you can talk with your mother-in-law, with your father-in-law, with your sister-in-law, no problem. If this thing is taken care of and have extra hijab with your brother-in-law, then you can continue, sister. Hope that answers the question.
Brother, as you said, father-in-law is a permanent mahram. Suppose if the lady's husband is no more and she's staying with her in-laws, can she perform a hajj with her father-in-law?
Yes, she can, sister. She can very well perform the hajj with the father-in-law, because father-in-law is the mahram, there is no problem.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So we have discussed a lot about marriage, and I would like to ask a question about children now. That what preparation should a couple do, if they are looking forward to go in for a child?
The first thing that when you're thinking about a children's future, the best time, people normally say that when we think about the future of the child, they say, okay, fine, the right time is when they pass the 10th standard, so that whether they become doctor, engineer, some people say the right time is when you admit them to a school, some people say when they are born. The right time is when you choose your life partner. When you select your life partner is the time you're preparing for your children's future. If you select a right life partner, then only will you be able to educate your child in a better way. So when you select your life partner, your already preparation for children has started, sister. That if you choose an Islamic life partner who has the same thinking, the chance for your children being more Islamic is more high. That doesn't mean they will become. We have examples in the Quran that the children of the prophets have gone astray. The son of Noah has gone astray. We have examples of fathers who are mushrik and their children have become prophets. We have the example in the Quran of Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him, whose father was a mushrik. We have examples in the Quran where prophets' wives have betrayed them. They weren't Islamic. Wife of Lut alayhi salam wasn't Islamic. We have examples of people who were worst against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and their wives were the best. For example, wife of Pharaoh, Hazrat Asa, may Allah be pleased with her. She was the best example. So as far as preparation of a children is concerned, sister, but natural. First, while selecting a life partner, that's the time. Then the moment when they're born, you should think of a good Islamic school. So the atmosphere that they have, the Islamic atmosphere, at home, there's no cable TV, all these things. No cable TV, no distraction, no un-Islamic activities, give an Islamic atmosphere. Then the moment they're born, the home environment should be Islamic. And when you're pregnant, that's the time. You read more of the Quran, talk more about Islam, don't see movies. Because what you do, when the child is born, whatever you do, what you hear, what you see has an effect on the behavior of your child. There's a research done that the lady who saw what movie was pregnant had an effect on the behavior of the child. मैंने अरे वो पैदा तो होने दो पहला अभी तक दुनिया में किधर आया तो दुनिया में आ चुका है in the womb of the mother. So that's the time initially when you select a life partner. That's the time. It continues. Then the moment the conversation takes place, how you behave, etc. What's the nature? You read the Quran, etc. It has an effect on the child. When the child is born, the atmosphere in the family, how's the atmosphere, Islamic or not? Avoid music, unnecessary music, un-Islamic activity. If it's a joint family, if you cannot prevent, then see to it that your room doesn't have a cable TV. You prevent your child, all these things. Then when he grows up after a couple of years, age of 3, 4, then you look for an Islamic school which gives the right teaching everything. It keeps on going, sister. School, then after school, 11th and 12th, after that, whatever it is, sister. So the full thing should be planned, sister, not that let's wait till the time arrives. You start from day one. And this can be discussed even at marriage. That fine, cable TV is wrong, so do you like seeing cable TV? Can you avoid it? Many times it will be too early. Some person doesn't know Islam that well. Very cable TV ka abhi se puch rahi hai. So you should know that sometimes which question should be asked. But all this is important for the upbringing of a children's sister. Hope that answers the question. Wa akhirat da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Stay young, forever be true. Cherish this life that's destined for you. Live your life with kindness and care. Remember, Allah will always be there, be there. Nikahun mubarakun, zawajun mubarakun.